What is up, Prealgebra students? This is lesson 62. Our objective is how do you solve and graph inequalities. And this latter part, the graphing inequalities, we've already gone over. So you already know how to do that part. We'll do a quick review whenever you need to get to that point. So now we're just trying to solve them. So let's just think of a couple numbers real quick. Let's think of, I don't know, maybe the number 3 and the number 10. I know that 10 is bigger than 3. If I take and maybe add a number, say 3 to both of these, I'm going to get 6 and 13. Notice it's still true that 13 is bigger than 6. If I subtract a number like, I don't know, maybe 7, I would get -1 and 6. And notice 6 is still bigger than -1. Even if I multiply it, say like multiply it by a positive number, by 2, I would get -2 and 12, and notice it's still bigger. And even if I divide it by a positive number, I would still get, coming up here, -1 and 6, again something that's still bigger. So most of the time, you can solve these just like you would any equation, kind of just using the opposite order of operations there and solving these. There are a couple exceptions, and that's whenever you have to multiply or divide by a negative number, but that will be at a later time. We'll work with those. So for today, you can solve all of these problems just like you would a normal equation. And I'd also like to note that every homework that every problem we're going to be working out here in this video is also on your homework. So you might want to take notes just so you can for sure get some of your homework questions right. So here we go. It just says solve and graph. I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this and, because you need to solve it and then you need to graph it. So you will be missing points if you don't graph. So let's just see about solving this. I'm going to rewrite it down here. -33 is greater than or equal to x plus a -13. So really, this is the same thing as just saying like -13. So I'm going to do the opposite operation. I am going to add 13 to both sides. So then I'm going to get x on the right. Over here I'm going to get -20. So remember here, since I have a greater than or equal to, means I'm going to have a solid dot on the 20. So I'm going to put a solid dot right here on the -20. And notice that -20 is always bigger than or equal to x. So it means x is smaller than -20, which means I'm going to draw this line to the left. Draw this line to the left. Alright, on this one, looks like I can just maybe subtract 17 from both sides. And I'll end up with p is greater than -12. So since I don't have a greater than or equal to, it's going to be an open circle, a -12. And p is bigger than that, so I'm going to draw it this way. But on your paper, you'll probably draw it like this, right? Or this one would have been like that. Just so it'd be easy to see as we go through and grade that. Alright, let's do some more. Maybe a little bit more scary just because it has a fraction in it. But don't freak out because this m is being divided by 6. And what's the opposite of dividing? Well, simply multiplying. So we're going to multiply both sides by 6. These 6's reduced to 1, giving me m is greater than or equal to -30. So again, a closed circle, because it has that or equal to sign right there. And this time m is bigger than -30, so it's larger than, so it's going to be going to the right, like that. This next one, 10 times n is greater than this, so the opposite of multiplying is going to be dividing by 10. So I end up with n is greater than negative 17. And I'll just give you also a little hint. Whatever number you solve this to is going to be on here. It might be like one of these numbers in between, but it's going to be on this number line. So if I got like negative 50 somehow, then I would know that I made a mistake because negative 50 is not on this number line. So I would need to rework my math to make sure. So it's kind of like a hint. Your answer is going to be on here somewhere. So to graph this one here, negative 17 is right here. Open circle because there's no line underneath that greater than sign. N's bigger than that, so it's going to be going to the right. One more here on this page, then we'll do a couple more on your next page. Those first ones we did are just one step, a one and done type of thing. And these next few are going to be 2 steps. I got to take 2 steps to solve them. So notice I want to get everything with an r by itself and everything without an r to the other side, so I'm going to subtract 3. So I'll end up with 72 is greater than 6r. Now we'll divide by 6. And on the left hand side I get 12 is greater than r. So again on 12 is going to be an open circle. R is smaller than 12 because 12 is bigger than r, so it means this is going to go to the left. 2 more, then you can head back to your seat and get to work here. And these ones, people tend to freak out about these sometimes because there's fractions. But don't freak out about the fractions. You can do them, but still kind of the same idea as what we were doing before. When you get everything with your variable by itself. So over here I have a plus this negative 4. So if I want to make this 0, I need to add 4. So I'm going to do that to both sides there. So I end up with a divided by 16 is less than or equal to negative 1. A is being divided by 16 right here. So the opposite of dividing is going to be to multiply. So I'm going to multiply by 16. And I'm going to multiply this side by 16. Well, these become 1. I just end up with that a is less than or equal to negative 16. Which sure enough shows up here. So it's going to be a solid circle because it's less than or equal to. Solid circle, and a is smaller than that 16, because remember the alligator always eats the bigger number. Okay. And last one, notice all of this, remember, this division bar is a grouping symbol. So since it's a grouping symbol, that means all of this on top is being divided by 2. So then what I'm going to do to get rid of that fraction on the left is I'm going to multiply the left-hand side by 2 and the right-hand side by 2. So these 2's will reduce, and I'll end up with 6 plus n is greater than or equal to negative 12. Then saying n plus 6, so I'm going to say subtract 6 from both sides. End up with n is greater than or equal to, since those are the same signs, I'm going to end up adding negative 18. Again, this shows up on here, closed circle at negative 18 because it's greater than or equal to, and n is bigger than that, so I'm going to go to the right. Feel free to watch this again if you need to. Your homework is a worksheet, so make sure you've picked that up and you are working diligently on that. Good luck.